Testing, testing. You can, yes. So, good morning and welcome. Welcome to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak through the power. Right now, as I speak to you, we have over 12,000 subscribers following us on TikTok and followers. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. We appreciate your support. Help us grow the platform. This topic today is simply asking a question: what is patriotism? And my own personal definition is that patriotism is the love for demonstrating the putting one's nation as top priority above every other nation. Yeah. Check my volume. Oh, can you hear me now? Sorry. Can you? Oh, thank you very much. Oh, I'm glad that you're here. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you very much. Of course. Yes, yes, yes. The volume is here. Sorry. I put the thing on and I forgot. Now, we are talking about patriotism. Yes. Can you hear me now? Sorry about that. We are talking about patriotism this morning. Welcome on board. You are listening to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Thank you very much for that. Let me reply. Thanks so much. Let me just put that up. Thanks so much. Yeah, sometimes you do this thing and I was fixing other things, so I was slightly distracted. Thanks so much. Let me just appreciate that. And it really helps. And this is where you know that we are building a very good community. When we look out for each other like this and we help each other in delivering what we've done. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Kenny said thank you very much. And I appreciate that. Thank you. So let us just continue. So what we are saying here is this: what is patriotism? My own definition of that is, it is when a nation, when somebody is patriotic to his country. If he's going to do anything, he actually looks at his country. He focuses on their country, and whatever he wants to do, he makes sure it is either done by people in his country. And if it's not by people in his country, in Nigeria, for example, then it has to be done by somebody within Africa. You see, we are becoming patriotic in that thinking. But many of our leaders don't think like that. Many of our leaders will think, oh, let me go to France. Let me go to Belgium. Let me go to Germany. Let me go to Italy. Let me go to the US. Let me go to other places. That is not patriotism. That is Stockholm syndrome. You are going to the very people that colonized us and you are patronizing them. You are following them. You are following them. You are getting their buying from them. That is not patriotism. That is Stockholm syndrome. And many of our leaders, they use the healthcare from the same people that colonized us. That is Stockholm syndrome. So I guess I could say the difference between patriotism and Stockholm syndrome. Big difference. Now, let us look at the definition, and then we'll now look at our leaders. We can now look at examples of leaders that are patriotic. Okay, so what is patriotism? Let me see if I can read it out. If we will say it now, let's see if we say
patriotism.
1 second. I'm trying to see if I can get that to do the work here. Is it on? Give me 1 sec, please. Just checking something. No, it's not. Okay. Yeah. So let us do this again. I want to see if you can hear it.
Patriotism.
Patriotism. Listen again. They call it patriotism. That's fine.
Patriotism.
So that is what it's called. That's what the English name of it. It is having love for one's country, in my view. Now, let's look at the meaning of it. The quality of being patriotic, devotion to, and vigorous support of one's country. A highly decorated officer of unquestionable integrity and patriotism. Similar, loyalism, nationalism, patriotic sentiment, love of one's country, flag waving, all of that. So that is what patriotism is about. Patriotism. That's what it's about. And the example of patriotism are the following people: Ibrahim Traore of Mali and of Burkina Faso. Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso is patriotic. He did not buy a new car. He has been using the the official transport for the president, the Defender, that was made in 1991. That is what he's still using today. Instead of him buying a new vehicle for traveling around, he has used a lot of that money to buy tractors so that farmers in Burkina Faso can be able to get tractors to get their farming done. That is patriotism. He has not given himself a raise, money to raise, to get a lot of money from the government. He's kept the salary more or less the same to when he was a captain in the army. The money is putting towards the country. That is patriotism. I will go far as to say he is a highly decorated officer of unquestionable integrity and patriotism. That is what we are looking for in our leaders. Another leader we can look at and say is patriotic is General Chiani of Niger. Niger has chased out the French and the US from its country because they have been taking away the wealth of Niger. I will say it again. We know for a fact that for over 40 years, France was taking uranium from Niger at peanut prices. They owned 90% of the shares in the company. Over 90% of the shares in the company that was taking out uranium from Niger. And the people of Niger were not getting that money. In fact, France was forcing Niger to sell its uranium to France and other European countries at 70 cents in the euro. General Chiani stopped all of that, took over the mines and the uranium process and the companies. Now, in the world market, Niger is selling its own uranium at 200 euros per kilo. That is patriotism. That is patriotism. Another form of patriotism, Assimi Goïta has made it official now and said, look, in our language, in our country, we are going to be using our own language. We are dropping French as our main language. We need to be speaking our own language. He's patriotic to his country. He wants his people to know their culture, to know who they are. Those are examples of patriotism. Those are examples of patriotism. Now, we are going to go a little bit more and talk about, let's give examples of Stockholm Syndrome. Examples of Stockholm Syndrome. Morning MB, morning. Examples of Stockholm Syndrome is this. Many of our African leaders, they go on holiday to the colonial countries that colonized them. Many of them, that's what they do. They go there and they go and buy their stuff. For example, I prefer to say greetings because greetings is better for me, and I think we should be using that. 1 second, please. Let me just quickly write this, and please help us share the broadcast. And I'm really grateful for those of you joining me this morning. I'm hoping that this will be a regular thing we'll be doing every day of the week, and then we'll build from there. So we've talked about patriotism. Patriotism is when someone has a love for their country and they demonstrate that in their actions. So, for example, you will buy the stuff made in your country. You will use the stuff made in your country. You will use the hospital in your country. You will go on holiday in your country. You will buy the clothes in your country made in your country. You will wear the shoes made in your country. You will make sure that anything to do with technology, you invest in it in your country. Your bridges will be functioning. That are all signs of patriotism. Now, let's go and look at what it means. We're going to talk about this now. Stockholm Syndrome. That's what many of our leaders are suffering from. Stockholm Syndrome. Now, what is Stockholm Syndrome? I need us all to understand that. What is Stockholm Syndrome? Stockholm Syndrome is a proposed condition or theory that tries to explain why hostages sometimes develop a psychological bond with their captors. Let me read that to you again in case you didn't understand. Stockholm Syndrome is a proposed condition or theory that tries to explain why hostages sometimes develop a psychological bond with their captors. Did you hear that? It is now clear, it should now be clear to you that many of our African leaders, they are actually puppets. Puppets that the West know are actually suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. That is now, they do not see their fortunes away from the colonials. They see themselves making their fortunes or their country in their deluded mind, making it, becoming a successful country because they are associating with the very people that colonized and oppressed them. Good morning, Mobile. Good morning to you. So greetings. So let me, I like saying the word. Let's say the word greetings, because we are not mourning. No, we are not mourning. There is something I will come and explain about that later on. Let us try to use greetings. It is a better way to talk. But anyway, please, as you're coming in, give us hit the like button. TJ Baba, welcome on board. Hit the like button. Give us thumbs up. Share the broadcast. Help us reach more people. Tap on the screen. Please also follow follow each other. And those of us who are watching, please, you can follow Hamilton234 as well. But most of all, we want you to please share the broadcast this morning. We need to begin to have a solution-based thinking. Please tap on the screen. Show some love. We welcome gifts. I've pinned my PayPal details on there. You can donate to us. We have a lot of plans that we're planning to do in terms of the Constitution, and that will require funding. We need to make sure that the people within our communities, they know their rights in their local languages, and that will mean we have to train up people in those communities to go and become an outreach within the communities, explaining their rights to them in their local language and encourage them to use it. So the more we do that, it would almost become they become like stakeholders in promoting African language, African culture, and Africans exercising our constitutional right across the whole of Africa. This is across the whole of Africa, not just one country. Of course, we're starting in Nigeria, but I want people from Ghana, people from Sierra Leone, people from Gambia, people from all the places, Zimbabwe, Sudan, Morocco, where we need everybody on board. Our constitution has to be in the language that our local people understand. We do not have to be speaking English or French on our land. We are on African continent. We are in African kingdoms. And anybody coming to Africa must speak our language. Furthermore, I will go to say we have to prepare the state to such an extent that our presidents, when they go to the UN, they will be speaking purely African language. The UN, United Nations, will have to translate what they say to French or English for their purpose, because we have to know our language. As I speak to you, Facebook, they are not paying me on a platform that I have. They're not paying me on Oduduwa TV radio. I have close to quarter of a million followers. And they don't pay me because they say I don't speak English. Because I am not in an eligible country. I'm in the UK, but because I'm speaking in Yoruba, they say I am not in an eligible country, which is a lie. This is why I'm saying we have to challenge this. 250,000 supporters, and they refuse to pay me. They say I'm ineligible. I'm trying to contest it. So what we're saying, Neterun Harry, greetings to you, greetings, thank you, greetings. Now, so going back to what I'm saying, our languages are important. So please, like I said, as you're coming in, share this broadcast. Share to 5, share to 10, follow, gift. We welcome gifts. love, and everything you can do to help us grow the platform. As I said earlier on, we are over 12,000 followers now on TikTok. We are very grateful for your support. Let us continue, and we hope to try and continue to build and grow. There is a lot of work for us all to do. We need to raise the level of awareness about our rights in our local languages across the entire African continent. I kid you not. I am very, very certain about that. That must be our focus. So anything you can do in terms of gifts to help us in being able to do programs like this on a regular basis, we very much appreciate it. Tap the screen, give us donations, share, reach more people, and of course, we want you. We're currently setting up a group. We haven't got a clear name yet, and we're working on that. We're drafting some papers around that. That is going to be focused on ensuring that all parts of Africa are able to confidently know their constitution in their language, with active participation from you and I across the whole African continent in bringing that knowledge. Because once we know that, then our people will not be deceived. The problem that we've been facing is that the language that is being used to tell our people any message is a foreign language, French or English. And people who are in the hinterlands, in the villages and the small communities, they don't know those languages. So whatever, and the people in government are using it as to exploit their own people, which is a mental insanity, if you the best way I can explain it. But going back to the topic, we were talking about Stockholm Syndrome. The demonstration of Stockholm Syndrome by our leaders is when our leaders will rather go to places like France, places like UK, places like Saudi Arabia, places like Germany to get health care. They would rather fly, get in a plane, fly 5 hours away from their nation, the nation that they promised to serve. They would rather fly 5, 6, 7, 8 hours away, go to Qatar, go to United Arab Emirates, go to Germany, go to France, go to the US to get health care treatment, rather than invest that money in making sure that we have good hospitals that will cater for not just them, for the entire people of the nation, so that we have great health care, so that our people will not die needlessly. That is Stockholm Syndrome. Our leaders are displaying Stockholm Syndrome because what they are doing is, rather than investing in their own country, the money that whatever wealth that we have, they take the money out of the country and go and put the money and pay for the healthcare and treatment in these places. One governor, may so rest in peace, in Nigeria, Governor Akeredolu of, I believe is Ondo State, he died in a hospital in Germany. He died in a hospital in Germany. Whereas he's got millions and millions and millions of naira that could have been used to build a hospital in Ondo State right there. And he would be demonstrating. You see, our kids, they are very impressionable. When a leader does that and they go away to a foreign country, guess what they're going to do? The people who are behind them, they will do the same thing. So we are creating yet more Stockholm Syndrome leaders. Because now, the people who are behind him, when he was ill, rather than get treatment in Nigeria or in Africa, he went abroad. So guess what I'm going to do? I am going to go abroad as well. Now it becomes a vicious cycle. This is what we are suffering from. So that's healthcare. Second, talk about the cars. Africa is patronizing, the whole of Africa, they are patronizing Japanese cars. I kid you not. There's a video that I showed that they were telling us how much each of the Daihatsus, Toyota, all of these cars, they are selling them to Africans at $200,000 per car. Per car, per SUV, $200,000. They offered that to Ibrahim Traore. He said no. That money can be built if you spend that 200,000 per car on building factories. You can build 3,000 factories in Africa that will make cars. Good morning, my sister. Let me invite Coach. I'll invite you. Good morning, problem solving. Good morning. You can have 3,000 factories making the cars that you can now sell in your country. But because they go and buy those cars, thankfully, Ibrahim Traore said, no, I'm not buying that. I'm going to put the money in our farmers. I'm going to put in our homes. That is patriotism. But when our leaders go and buy SUVs from Japan, we are building their own economy with our own money. That is Stockholm Syndrome. That is Stockholm Syndrome. It is important we begin to explain this to ourselves. Good morning, problem solving. Welcome. Let's hear from you for a few minutes. I'll pause.
Greetings, brother. Great risings and everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Greetings.
How are you?
Good, thanks. Yes, thank you for joining. We did say I was going to come back and talk about two things: the Alliance of Sahel States, which I'm going to use the next topic, and also I forgot to mention. I'm trying to define the difference between patriotism and Stockholm syndrome, and try to explain how those two manifest in our leaders. Now, the good leaders like Ibrahim Traore, Asim Goita, General Tiani, they demonstrate patriotism by investing in their people, by using the cars from the company, by bringing in factories to build, in their country. Whereas countries like Nigeria, for example, and other places, even Kenya and other places, they would rather go out and buy cars from other places and go and process our oil outside. Those are clear signs of believing and going to sort of ingratiate themselves with those who colonized us. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. So,
I think we touched on this yesterday.
Yes.
About the self.
That's correct.
Because the underlying.
In fact, very even good word. Self-hate.
Self-hate. Because when you don't value what comes out of your own country or what comes out of your own soil, and this
Yeah.
is African-wide.
That's correct. That's correct.
It's like we've got leaders historically and now that is, that wanting the best. They go abroad for the best medical service, for the best cars to have their holiday. Why can't, what is happening in the country while the country soaking swallow? Why can't we have that
Yeah.
in our country, in our communities? Why are these not there? You see, we are in the UK, and when I was in London, and particularly these affluent areas in London,
Yeah.
the Mayfair, the St. John's Wood, I used to do some work around there, and some of those houses are being owned by Nigerians and their leader. And
Exactly.
leaders,
Bishopgate Avenue as well.
millions of pounds, 2 million, 3 million,
12 million. 12 million.
12 million in
Yeah.
Mayfair alone. One apartment, one flat,
Yeah.
5 million Mayfair. One small apartment just to live in that place.
Exactly.
Just for holiday purpose,
Yeah.
nobody is living there.
That's it.
So this is what's actually happening. When we have leaders with that mindset of coming to power to enrich themselves, I believe this is where, this has been the problem, even particularly in Nigeria. This is what's been going on. Again, it boils down to self-hate and the people not knowing who they are and their power in this situation. When you have leaders doing that, you have the upcoming youth thinking about that, and this is why we need to focus on the youth in terms of how they see positions of leadership, if they are taking positions of leadership, that we don't repeat what has been happening.
Indeed.
We break the cycle of self-centeredness, self-hate particularly.
That's correct.
Lack of patronizing ourselves. We've got in Abia State or Abba State the biggest markets that can produce anything that the West is providing. But because
Thank you.
it's done in Abia State or it's done in Nigeria,
Thank you.
people are just saying that, oh,
Yeah.
just from Abia here.
Yeah.
But people from abroad are actually buying Abia stuff.
Yeah.
But you are not buying your own stuff.
Yeah. 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 It's so true. And that's exactly what we're trying to, make sure we talk about. Let me invite Millie G as well. That's very important. And I quite like the word you said, self-hate. Just for context and for people to understand that. Self-hatred is defined as self-hatred is personal self-loathing, hatred of oneself, or low self-esteem, which may lead to self-harm. And in actual fact, what we're doing, what our leaders are doing, is actually called self-harm. They don't realize it because they're actually putting themselves in harm's way by going into places where clearly their interest is not put forward. Good morning, Millie G. Let's hear from you.
Yeah,
Go
let
on.
me let me just add quickly to that. There's
Okay,
something
thank
that's
you.
coming up. Hi, Millie, sister.
Yeah.
Just one moment.
Yeah.
I was up till very late last night, so I'm a little bit still.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, we can give you some time to come in and chat in a second. I'll let
I just wanted to add this.
yeah.
You know, I wanted to talk about our leaders saving abroad,
Yes.
saving their millions and whatever they
Thank
have
you.
abroad.
Yes.
The Swiss bank is one of them. I don't even want to mention because I used to work in Swiss bank as well.
Wow.
I used to work in the bank. So
Wow.
there's a lot of all of these things going on. We are enriching other people's country. We are enriching other people's economy by the government doing that. Anyone that's sort of doing that from the Nigerian government, this is what's happening. We are saying that okay, we don't like ourselves, we don't like our land, we don't like our people, and therefore we take all of our money out. We go and enrich other people. So
Wow.
that's another self-hate. The root cause, the effect of self-hate.
Hmm.
You know, I don't like spending. I don't like doing this for my people.
People.
You know, I don't like doing this for my country. You know, if we truly recognize what the land of Africa is, the resources that we have under our feet, and the value of those resources, because the value of those resources and what the land of Africa provides is not fully taught in the schools.
Thank you.
It's not fully taught in the schools.
Thank you.
You know, you have religious study in the school more than, you know, what the land mass, more than agriculture, more than what we have on the land. You know, so and no wonder why people are not aware of the land that they are walking on, the soil, the agriculture, the water, the mineral, the resources, the raw material. How can you transform? So all of these are missing from the curriculum in the school curriculum.
Wow.
And no wonder why you have people disconnected from themselves first of all, and disconnected from the land. Most people don't know that under their own feet, in their own backyard in Nigeria,
Yeah.
you can, there are things there. Look in the ground. Even in the UK here, you have kids, you have the youngsters
Yes.
using metal
Detectors.
to find out what is underground in their background.
General curiosity.
Their backyard. So we're not taught these things in school. Our kids are not taught this in Nigerian schools.
Indeed, they're given the Bible and the Quran as the thing they should know and be most proud of. And that really is harming them because they're not exploring their own environment. That is the best way to actually understand what is around you, not what is in a book somewhere. Very interesting
That's what
point.
I want to add. I'll just leave it there.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah.
I'd like to add something.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
So I hope I met myself. I'm not all over the place.
No.
I would like to talk about the African leaders because I feel that in order for Africa to move ahead, we have to elect leaders that really care about their country.
That's correct. Absolutely.
So let me just hope I'm not like all over the place because I'm
Yeah.
trying to kind of make it one side here.
That's fine. Go ahead.
I've been in sales from 1995, right? And one of the things that I have developed in order to become because I was a very successful salesperson in radio. So what I used to do, and I think it was
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the guy from
Burkina Faso. Yes, that's Ibrahim Traore. Yeah.
yes, but he seems to be a good leader. Put
Yes.
together a profile of what made him, like what is his background? What, because he's thinking differently from everybody, a lot of the other African leaders.
Yeah.
Because, and there are leaders that, that probably got assassinated in the past.
Yeah. Thomas
But
Sankara.
put together a profile of how, these type of leaders. Because one of the stuff, even in, when I realized, even in American election, they have a profile, these the presidents have to go to certain Ivy League university before they're able to put into the position of power.
Mm-hmm.
And they're Dean and they're Harvard. So you see a lot of the presidents of the United States are from
Mm-hmm.
these Ivy League, these universities,
Mm-hmm.
because they put a profile together in order to come them to be a leader. I do not know what goes on in those Ivy League universities for them to ensure that their educational background, people from their educational background, be elevated in leadership,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing with Africa. We have to put a profile together because the people, the leaders that are there do not really care about the country.
Exactly.
They've been educated in Ivy League University abroad, and they have alliance or allegiance to people. They're people from abroad. I don't know if they got scholarship. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But you have to put together a profile of what makes a good leader in Africa,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
Put together the qualities. Like, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what's the background of this guy. The guys are from Senegal. What is their background?
Yeah.
Because they come on and I'm gonna say you guys, I'm gonna say we guys because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're part of this right now.
We are absolutely
Put together a profile of what's a good leader. The
should.
qualities that are gonna make a good leader. The qualities that they're gonna care about you, because then if you do not have the proper leadership, you're gonna be going round and round and round.
Exactly.
You have to have leaders that care about the country
Mm.
and want the country to progress.
So
So
good.
you're talking about, sending money and putting it in social accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they have allegiance to those countries, because maybe there are people who put them, those countries are people that put them in power. Maybe they finance their elections. I
There you
don't
go.
know.
That you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what happened. You've just hit the nail on the
I
head.
about that as well, Mini Green. Thanks that you brought it out. It shows that the ancestors are circulating there. They're speaking among us. I think absolutely that's what we need. And I think in the West, what they have in the America, they have this in the West, they have this rating for their leaders, the approval ratings
Mm-hmm.
based on based on those qualities. Have they delivered against those qualities, against those criteria? This is what we need to be doing in Africa as well, because historically we've not done that. People
No.
have come into power, they said what they were saying during their campaign, and that's the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
no one delivers. So we need to, it's part of holding them accountable, and we have to do this even at the grassroots levels as well, even with local community leaders
Yeah.
and governors in the local community. We have to have the criteria. When someone is giving feedback based on your performance
Yeah.
in government, these people have to be accountable.
They do. They absolutely have to. And I like the idea of that profile rating. Like you said, I just want to she's off. I like the idea of what you said in terms of the profile. Giving them, making sure that we put that qualities there, and there's a profile that we can grade, so everybody is familiar with it. So it goes into our consciousness already. Whereas what we have in Africa now is somebody, like you said, problem solving, will just come and make a promise, and people will just go without looking at their track record. So, in fact, yeah, good word, track
Yeah,
record.
because what they do is just give people money on election day
That's it.
or on campaign
That's
day,
correct.
and that's it. They give bag of what did Tinubu do? I think I heard that he was giving when he was doing his campaign, he was giving them bag of rice, bag of beans, or whatever that was, and that was it. There's no accountability.
No, absolutely not.
During all of those time, and that's it.
No way. No, no, absolutely not.
People are more likely to listen to, to pay attention to what the people need. They do that in Britain here.
Exactly.
They do that in Britain here. So it shouldn't be different in Africa.
That's correct. That is very, very important. And I guess that is exactly the kind of thing we need to do. We do not have a template. In fact, that's even so this all of the things we're talking about, quality, the profile, criteria, track record, it's accountability. These are like templates that should be right across the whole of Africa. Template for leadership, So there should be templates that every country in Africa should be able to fit in their local languages, so that the people can know, okay, the person, if they have they done this, what are they doing, how are they, what have they achieved in the community, what is the evidence of that, where did they go, and how did they fulfill their promises, accountability, were they given, regular accountability on the things they were involved in. So yeah, that is a template that we need, not just in Nigeria, right across Africa. That is something that we need, and I'm hoping that we can really begin to do that. Welcome back, Millie G. Um, yeah, I know, yeah, I know, I saw that. So that's as soon as I saw you, I brought you back in. So yeah, you very good point about the profile, and I've written that down. And I think we might even broach that subject in our future discussions, bring that back up, because what we need to do is we are going to do a lot of repetition in our discussions on the things, on the good quality that we want. And as we know, when you repeat things that is meant to sort of remind people, it sinks in better over time, rather than when you just mention it once. And of course,
We also need to broach the subject of, what leaders are giving out. So, for
yeah,
instance, the handouts, the temporary handouts that people are getting
hmm
during the election time. I know people are sort of hungry for stuff,
that's it.
money and all of that.
Yes.
But we have to hammer this into people, and
hmm
particularly the local leaders, because when we start at the local level to begin to disseminate this, the local leaders will then take that up to the regional, national levels, and they will begin to sort of demand those types of things
Very, very
at the
true.
federal levels as well.
Very,
So
very
it
true.
starts from the grassroots.
Grassroots, exactly, from the grassroots. Yes. Very, very good point. And these are the kind of things we're talking about. I mean, one of the things that I always encourage us all to do, and I hope we're all doing it, there is no one day I do not mention Ibrahim Traore in my comments. I talk about him. I'm bringing him to life. I'm trying to put that message so that, um, one second, let me just check something here. I'll be back in touch again. So yeah, I'll get in touch. So yeah, we are going to do something about that, to make sure that our people begin to really understand that the qualities that we need in our leadership, those qualities are very, very it's important that they demonstrate it and we can see it, and it makes the people have confidence. Whereas, like you're saying, when you have somebody going into places and telling them and giving them all this stuff, we need to nip it in the bud at the grassroots level, so that people in the community will know, no, we cannot accept this. We need to actually see your actual work. You're not just going to give us a bag of rice now and then disappear. Like Tinubu himself said, many of the leaders who are in all of this, who once they become they get into the post and they win the election, they leave their communities and they go and live in Abuja. So they forget the people that brought them there, and they forget exactly. And that is the kind of thing we need to change. And we need to begin to highlight that. And this is why the education about the rights in that the constituency, the constitutional work is so important, because it empowers the people at a level that makes them know, you know what, this is not acceptable. I'm not going to accept this. This is not what we wanted.
Exactly.
Mm.
I think ignorance in the part of the citizen contribute. Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Yes. Ignorance fueled by, oh, I'm waiting for someone in the sky to come in and
Yeah,
do this.
yeah.
I hope God will do this. I hope God will do this.
Well,
And in this language,
that to be changed.
Symptoms of people who, who have no means of thinking for themselves. Somebody from the sky, I'm waiting for God from the
Guy.
sky that will change things.
Nah. We need to wake up. We have to wake up from that.
God will do it. When?
Nah, we have to.
500 years count and still counting.
Nah.
And this person has not done anything. So
Yeah.
we need to sort of change that mindset.
Indeed.
I know that this is going to be triggering for people, but the truth hurts, right?
It does. It does.
But it sets you free.
Yes, it is.
I could also add to this conversation.
Yes, please.
I realize, but I'm from Jamaica, right?
Yeah.
When I go to Jamaica, I notice that they still have the blueprint of the colonizers in the sense that when they talk about the roads that the roads that are in Jamaica, they improve very much in Jamaica, but it all has to do with when it comes to trading and stuff to make sure that that those routes are not hindered, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing like what happened in Africa is like they made sure that there's roads that are coming from the resources, whatever resources, to the port, right?
Yeah.
And the roads are okay, but the rural roads are not okay.
No,
Right?
they're not.
When I go to Jamaica, my dad is a farmer, as I tell you. The roads going up to his place is so horrible. And I asked him, I said, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh, the next election or something.
Mm.
He's gonna make it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was even surprised that people would be thinking like that. And I said that you guys need to organize to get it done. He said, oh, they block the roads, they do all this stuff, but the politicians, they promise them stuff, and as soon as they get into power, they don't fulfill their election promises.
They suddenly forget the voters all of a sudden. Mm.
Remember that the farmer guy saying that what he needs is for the proper road that they could bring their produce
Yeah.
to the market, right?
Yes, indeed.
And it's the same thing that is happening, the same sort of formula that they don't probably don't even know it, but the same formula that they use is that the roads that are there is to make sure that the tourists get to and fro,
See,
yes.
they're only focusing on the people who are just coming to view, not the people who are living there on a day-to-day basis.
Yes, because all the highways is like when it's all it's all city to port, that sort of thing.
There you go.
But that's why when we talk about leadership, is that we really need proper leadership. I live in a rural area for the first time since I've been in Canada,
Mm-hmm.
and all the roads are really nice.
You see?
I went to the hospital last night. I was a party, and that it was in the country. Great roads, wonderful roads.
Wow.
Potholes, no, everything is all great. Roads are really good everywhere, and this is the farming area that I live at. And,
Wow.
what
Wow.
I'm saying is that when it comes to Africa and all the, that they're still following the formula for
Yeah.
colonial
Mm-hmm.
that were there.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically ignoring the rural areas. And there's another thing to that, that you need to come and put in front, because then these places are neglected, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Saying is that they trying to come and give them food and this and that. They already have food. What they want is the proper infrastructure.
Indeed.
And the proper infrastructure is not there. And of course, they probably would see, with Congo. Look at Congo. It's Congo. I hate to talk about it because my heart breaks when I talk about
Yeah,
Congo.
it is.
The big, jet, flying in and out with their resources,
That's
right?
it. That's it.
The people that are not they're not profiting
From their own resources.
So
Indeed.
what happened there?
It
I
is.
would have to look at the leadership,
Yeah, it is.
right?
It is.
I don't know the leader from Congo, but I could bet that he was placed there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not for the people. Because no leader that is for the people would allow this to happen.
Indeed. Indeed, indeed. You're so right. And this is where we need to start interfere and making the people aware in their local community about the power they have to actually choose their own leaders and not allow puppets to be inserted in place for them by the colonials, because the colonials often control that. And this is where this program of awareness about what patriotism is, what circumcision is, so people can begin to identify those traits and actually work actively to prevent Stockholm syndrome leaders being in position of power. Um,
Yeah, I think.
yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to quickly add to just when people are talking, I just kind of think about something else
Exactly.
to add.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're talking about our brothers and sisters in the diaspora who want to come to the motherland.
That's correct.
So, and there was a live that I was on. So the brothers and sisters over there are saying that, oh, why don't brothers and sisters on the continent, why don't they want to welcome them?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of issue. There's a lot of issue going on
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
on the motherland that need to be resolved.
Exactly.
There's a lot of sensitivity. There's a lot of not trusting people right now
Mm-hmm.
because what has
Been
done
going
in
on.
the motherland because of a lot of thinking.
Mm.
So people are a bit apprehensive. There's a lot of sensitivity
Mm-hmm.
for the a lot of things happening on the continent that need to be
Indeed.
resolved, especially infrastructure.
Mm.
I mean, highly security issue.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Security. There are people who have gone to Ghana from the diaspora
Yeah.
who went in there with the aim of improving some of the businesses there and infrastructure, but again, without that lack of security, they lost everything.
There you go.
Some of them lost their lives as well. So we don't want that.
No.
We want Africa to resolve what it needs to before you start welcoming our brothers and sisters from the diaspora.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if people want to help, then they can come in and help, but knowing that these issues exist.
Indeed.
And we just want to be really transparent, knowing that these issues exist in Africa, and this is this is what we need to resolve.
Exactly.
The issue of security and infrastructure in the way that it needs to be, like the roads. Milligrace rightly mentioned the roads. A lot of the roads leading to rural areas, leading to all of these beautiful natural places. A lot of them are,
Impossible.
there's nothing there. It's possible to kind of navigate. And I see this in most African countries, because when I was in Egypt of recent, this is the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is the same thing in Egypt, so it's the whole of Africa,
Wow.
It's only certain roads that are developed enough in the city, in the well-developed areas within each of the countries, but accessibility to places, to all of these natural reserves in Africa, different towns, the roads are
All rural road.
yeah, and then you have all of these hooligans, area boys hanging around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that makes and that actually, when you have bad roads, it's hub for criminal activity, because people getting stuck there will be exploited by those criminals. Whereas if the roads were clear and everything, it removes that, and actually it would actually change their habit and focus on actually being more productive than being very interesting point that you raised there. Yes, of course.
And encourage people to do more of this, because the infrastructure is there and the support is there, so it's got many benefits on all levels.
Fantastic.
And it brings in more tourism to those local areas.
That's correct. That's exactly it. It's interesting you mentioned. Let's hear from C9000. Welcome on board. Let's hear from you. Welcome.
Yeah, my sister is making a very good point. I think that from what she's saying, that is something that all the leaders have to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I was at the time I was in Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
I was one of the secretary for one of the party in power now.
Okay.
So basically, I do all those like certain things. Then one day we went for a meeting.
Okay.
and build the way it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Because when we start from there, it's very easy. Because if we like maybe doing the whole country, even that one we need to give ourselves years.
Yeah.